Robert from Santa Rosa. Robert, be careful. Tread carefully here, all right?
Okay, I'll try.
All right.
Good morning, guys. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
I saw the video last week when you guys first linked it and was just, the video proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that police officers do not want to back down.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Scion commercial. I was completely
No, I haven't seen it yet. Give me a minute.
Oh, you'll enjoy it. Okay, so anyway, a video of Ben and his brother, right? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's just crazy because the police, no matter what's going on, no matter how much of the law you know, they will not back down and allow themselves to be proven wrong.
Right.
And these guys were so clearly complying with everything they wished. They didn't just kowtow to every simple request. They said, well, is that against the law? And they're explaining, well, it's not, but, it'd be kind of cool if you did. And it's just another example of how just, are we supposed to bend over completely? And with the Supreme Court case decision, apparently we are.
Well, you know what was so frustrating about the video, Robert?
Well, bend over completely, yes. You bend over, squat, all kinds of different things.
And cough.
Put your ankles behind your head if you can.
Right. And then sing hallelujah. So it is so frustrating because, listen, and cops do this and they get away with it all the time. And frankly, you're supposed to know your rights. Saying, I'd like to search your car. You don't have to let them. Things can go squirrely if you don't, but that's your right. But it's so obvious the cops bluff and pretend that Ben and his brother have to go along with certain requests.
Well, most of us don't know. I don't know specifically what I can and can't do.
Well, these guys do. It's their thing. And they respectfully and politely decline. And their bluffs having been called, the cops get pretty surly. And this chick cop shows up, and she is such, I'm going to show you what a hard ass I am, and turns off their videotape, even though there's no reason to do that either. And it's just so obviously what Robert's describing here. It's really pathetic.
Found guilty by a jury who goes along with the idea that just do whatever the cops say, regardless of the law.
Right, regardless of your rights.
Of your rights.
Yeah, bend over,
it's
squat,
amazing.
cough. All right, Robert, thanks. Thanks for your support. Appreciate it. It's Don in Reno. Don, go ahead. Thanks for holding.
Gentlemen, I listen to you guys every morning. I want to say that I love you guys, but I respectfully disagree on this one.
How come?
I'm a retired cop, 31 years, and to get 12 people, jury of your peers, to agree on what kind of pizza they want, let alone a guilty verdict on this, justice has spoken.
When the government is wrong, Don, it's very dangerous to be right.
You know what? How about a little cooperation with the police as opposed to jerking them around?
What did they do that... Well, let's just go through some of the facts. Do I have to show a policeman my ID if he asks for it?
Well, you have to identify yourself if you're asked.
Okay, I give him my name, but do I have to show an ID?
I said you have to identify yourself.
I just
and
did.
he
I
just asked you a follow-up question.
You're kind of being a dick about this yourself, you realize. Right now, you're being a dick about it. I mean, so you called up and acted like we're on the wrong side of this, and you're being a dick when I start asking you questions.
Yeah, Jack asked you a respectful question for clarification. You came off as a hard ass, Don.
No, I didn't. Jack, you call me a dick. I'm not coming off as a hard ass.
I said, do I have to show you my ID if you ask me? You said you have to identify yourself. I say, okay, I give my name. Then you repeat it in a sarcastic tone. What do you call that?
I'm sorry, you broke up. I didn't hear you say that a second time.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. My apologies.
Everybody, let's all settle down here.
Well, I didn't call anybody a dick. I'm calm.
Well, okay.
Well,
all right.
It was a misunderstanding. You didn't hear what I said. Okay, so I say my name. I've identified myself. Then what happens?
Well, all right. First off, let me say I have not seen the videotape. Okay? I'm just going by what I've heard on the radio this morning. But my point is, if these guys went to court, they had 12 people, a jury of their peers,
right.
listen to the tape. 12 people can't decide on what kind of pizza they want, let alone finding these two guys guilty of a crime. You got to understand that is a major accomplishment for 12 people to decide that these guys did not obey the police officers, delayed, resisted, and obstructed them, which is the
by demanding that their rights be recognized. The jury obviously disagreed, and you're right, it's tough to get a conviction. So we'll keep following
But it
this
still
story.
doesn't answer my question. If a policeman asks me for my ID, do I have to show it to them?
Well, Jack, what you have to do is you have to identify yourself.
Okay, and I say my name. Then what happens?
Well, then it goes from there. It's like, well, why are they, it's obviously, why are the police stopping you and talking to you? Are you?
I'm standing on a bridge with a sign, which is legal.
Okay. See, it depends on the circumstances. Are you a witness to a crime? Are you a suspect in a crime?
I'm not asking. I'm asking because I actually don't know. I mean, I actually don't know my rights, which is probably a mistake. I should know.
Well, what you need to do is look up Penal Code 148, resisting, delaying, obstructing a police officer in the performance of their duty.
Right. And if you, in this situation, so it would seem to me, by having watched the videotape, and I suggest you would, they delayed and obstructed by insisting on their rights. And obviously, the jury disagreed.
And
I'll give you the last word.
That's what I'm saying. I did not see the video yet.
All right.
I'm driving my car, so I'd like to see the video.
All right, please do.
Yeah, and then call us
And
or
then
email
call
us back.
call us back. We have a lot of people who want to talk.
Yeah, I'd like to know what your opinion is. It'd be interesting.
All right, your reactions, 1-866-331-TALK. How about Brent in Sacramento? Hi, Brent.
Jack and Joe, good to talk to you guys. Hey, I had an exact encounter almost as what Jack was, saying, what if I did this and what if I did that? And my what if is I was in the city of Roseville at a dog park, of all things, and confrontation occurred between me and another one of the patrons of the park. There was no threats, there was no cussing, none of this stuff going on until somebody else who was completely out of the situation decided to interject themselves. They called the cops. The cops came over. I remained seated the entire time. I'm a big guy. I'm about 6'2", about 290 pounds, but I'm solid. I'm not a big.
Congratulations!
Yeah, tell us about your hair. Well, go on. What happened?
Anyhow, anyways, the cops came. They asked me for my ID. I complied. They asked me to step outside the park with them. I asked them why. I said, when we talk about what's going on in here? And they said, just step outside the park with us. I said, okay. They asked me to leave the park, and I said, under what law? And then the guy says, because I said so. I said, I don't understand exactly where because I said so is in the law. So if you can please show me what that municipal code is, that'd be really great before we go any further.
No, just submit quietly.
Exactly. Long story short, I continued talking with them about this, and then I made sure I projected my voice so other people in the park could hear because I was not happy about them asking me or actually telling me to leave because they said so. So I continued to, challenge them, and then the cop ultimately says to me, look, you got 1 minute to leave before I arrest you. So I said, okay, I'll take that 1 minute. I'll continue to ask you why, and then I'll leave. And he says, let me rephrase it. You got 1 minute to be out on that road. So I start to walk towards my truck, which they didn't ask me how I arrived at the park that day. So I start to walk towards my truck, which is slightly at the degree of an angle towards the officer because there's a car obstructing my direct line to my truck. And he pulls out his taser, tells me to get down on the ground, and they both arrest me, and they take me away.
I tell you what, Brent, this sounds outrageous. I'm sorry it happened. You do run into bad cops. Brent, we weren't there. And we've talked to people who say this MFing cop arrested me for nothing. And the longer we talk to him...
What happened with me is that I actually had witnesses. Long story short, this happened in 2008.
Okay.
It didn't get resolved until 2010. They strung me out until the very last, I was going to go to trial with this thing. And then all of a sudden, after 2 years and $10,000 in attorney fees that I had to pay, all of a sudden this tape comes from the Roseville Police Department going, oh, wait a minute, there's a tape here. The DA reviews it, they dismissed everything because the cops completely lied about everything.
Right. Okay, fair enough, Brent. Thanks. I get it. What I started to say to Brent was we get the stories all the time. You see them all the time. It happens all the time. People saying, yeah, the cops arrested me for nothing. For nothing? That seems strange. Well, yeah, I was walking my dog in the park, and they arrested me for nothing. Well, just for walking your dog? Well, he's off leash and bit another dog. Oh, so they arrested you for that? Well, no, I called a cop an MFer and I pushed him. Okay. 30 seconds ago, you got arrested for nothing. So that was my only message to Brent. We weren't there.
Sure.
We don't know.
And when
We're
people
hearing one side.
And when people say, all I said to him was, well, how about tone of voice?
Proximity, etc.
Right.
I'm not going to issue some sort of blank cops are dicks thing. They certainly can be.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I'm a fan of cops.
But they babysit idiots all day long, and sometimes it makes you testy. What we're calling for, like we're always calling for on all these freaking issues, is we've got to be sober and adults about this and recognize each other's rights. Of course, humanity is stupid and ugly. Here I am wishing for something other than that. I'm a jackass.
I don't know if it's bravery. It's probably more lazy than lack of bravery. That if I'm in that situation and ask for an ID, I'm just going to show it to him because I don't want to get into the whole thing. I'm not doing, here's my ID. That's who I am. I'm not doing anything.
There you go.
Go about with my life.
You're a sheep.
Maybe, because I don't feel like arguing.
I like wool. I like mutton. Who am I to criticize you? Brian talked to some of Ben's jury members, or a jury member. Brian, hang on. We'll talk to you next.
Go to ArmstrongandGettyRadio.com. Watch that sign commercial. Somebody says they almost got fired at work for it. I don't know if that's true or not, but you could get fired at work for watching it.
Yeah!
You're listening to the Armstrong and Getty Show.
This is the Armstrong and Getty Show on Talk 650 KSTE. Here again, Armstrong and Getty.
Look, the phone glitched out. He didn't hear part of what I said.
Right.
I fully understand what happened there.
That was the claim, anyway.
No fault. I understand. I get it.
Unfortunate incident.
Right. He didn't hear what I said. Because I had that happen. I was on the other end of that not long ago, a situation like that.
Right.
So it can happen. So you texters, take it easy. I mean, it's just, you heard the whole conversation. He didn't.
Although there is a particular personality type, some of whom find their way to police work, who are fairly rigid and despise being challenged. And their fur gets up immediately.
Uh-huh.
We've all known people like that in whatever profession. 1-866-331-TALK, talking about Ben the Libertarian and his brother convicted of obstructing or delaying an investigation because they didn't something. Brian has called us from beautiful Marysville. Hey, Brian.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Yeah, my friend I work with, I told him yesterday, man, you got to call A&G about this, but he works during the day, I work at night, so I'm always listening to you guys. Anyways, there's one thing.
This guy, I'm sorry, we've skipped ahead of what everybody needs to know. You know somebody who was a juror on Ben's trial?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, yeah. His name is Mark. He works with me.
Well, don't identify jurors. All right.
I'm sorry. His name was Brian. That's right.
Okay.
Anyways, calls me up yesterday and tells me, they found him guilty. And I said, "What are you talking about? You found him guilty?" He said, "We had no choice." And what a lot of people don't understand, having served on a jury, is they give you a specific narrow thing to find guilty or not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
They take everything out of the equation and say, "Did they do this one thing?"
Right.
And a lot of people get all wrapped up in the whole big picture,
Sure.
and I'm with them. I'm going, that's bull. That's just bull. Anyways, they did find him guilty for obstructing the officer because he could have been doing something else instead of asking this guy for an ID.
Oh, my God. Well, that law needs to go.
Right, but I understand what you're talking about. That happens with Supreme Court rulings all the time.
And don't write us your emails about jury nullification.
What?
I know.
But that happens all the time with Supreme Court hands something down, and where me included are all outraged over this big picture look at it. But it was about a specific aspect of it,
right?
And it has, it might be counter to what they believe about the big picture of it.
So the jury haven't been given narrow instructions whether somebody violated a crappy, vague law. Said, yeah, he did. There are a lot of people who believe in jury nullification, which is if you are on a jury and the law is plainly unjust and sucko, you just won't convict on that law as a gesture.
Something he did bring up, which this sounded kind of weird to me, was he said on the video, because they actually got to watch the video, but only like a minute 35 seconds of it.
Right.
And after that, they didn't get to watch the rest. And where it ended, he said it ended where the cop asked him, he said, you need to take off the mask that might be breaking the law. Can I see your ID? At that point, when he said that, that's when it became illegal for them not to show the ID. Now, I'm listening to him going, well, what do you mean? So if I'm wearing a red jacket and they say I think wearing a red jacket might be breaking the law, you got to show your ID? I don't get that. But he said that's the way it was understood. That's the way it was presented to them.
All right, that law sucks then. All right, Brian, thanks for the call, bud. Appreciate it.
From the text line, Jack, glitch my ass. You still never got a straight answer. You tell the police officer your name to identify yourself. Then what happens?
Right. He didn't have an answer.
Well, he said it depends on something. But
Roger is a peace officer, as I understand it. Roger, how are you, sir?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Good. What's on your mind?
Enjoy your show.
Thank you.
Hey, you know what? In the academy, we learn a concept: letter of the law versus spirit of the law. Okay? And spirit of the law, it sounds like in this case, the cop shouldn't have done anything. Now, I don't know about
right. I've run into that a few times in my life before, too. And if you've got a letter of the law guy, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, and you know, here's a reality. There's enough real criminals out there that are committing real crimes that these cops should have been taking their time to deal with instead of these guys. They should have walked away from it based on what I've heard so far this
Yeah, I would think as a cop, if I run into somebody, there's no crime here. Okay, we've got a libertarian. We've got somebody who cares about the law, and there's nothing going on here. I'm just going to leave it alone. It just seems like out of, again, laziness or a path of least resistance, you'd do that.
Hey, Roger, if you get a second, go to ArmstrongandGettyRadio.com. Check out the videotape. Hit us with an email, maybe a call Monday. Let us know what you think. Because these guys, I understand how if you're not used to being challenged, you'd feel like you were in a match of some sort, a battle of wits. But these guys are painstakingly polite. So,
absolutely. And you know what? That goes a long ways.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, Roger, I'd love for you and other cops to take a look at the videotape and let us know what you think.
Excellent
All right.
idea.
Hey, thanks for the call, my friend. Because we have been unflaggingly supportive of law enforcement since the show began, whenever the hell it was, a long time ago. And we understand what you guys and women are up against and all the freaking idiots in the world and how dangerous it is. 100% with you on that. It doesn't mean